Yeah, final one tonight. Yeah, welcome to the last week. Does anyone know the difference between a ruble and a dollar? A dollar. No, but anyway, thanks everyone for coming along. No more sign-up sheet, which is cool. Only thing you have to remember this week is please put your score in. Sienna's not here, but yeah, I suppose Team Green's got to lose somehow. So everyone should be happy. So yeah, last week, enjoy it. Yeah, we'll crack right into it, team. So I suppose when we're actually covering the, well, if you've seen the workout, I'm not really going to roll through the reps and all that stuff. Hopefully you've got your sort of scorecard there. I suppose a couple of things to know. There's a tie break time. So if this is your first open, this is the first workout that's required this, but after each set of thrusters, it will be asking for a tie break. So you need to, after that's completed, regardless of who the person is, because even if they think they're going to finish, they may not. They need that tie break time, okay? So have a look at the scorecard before you go. Get that tie break written down. So if after they do their thrusters, look at the clock, chuck it down. That's pretty important. And in terms of, I know there's a lot of different loads and categories and all that sort of stuff. Once again, you're responsible for your own bars. We sort of tried to set up as many as we can. There'll only be either 6 or 7 or 5 in one heat going at one time, so you'll be able to chop and change. And if you know, like, you're probably not going to need that last bar, then you can sort of give those change plates to someone else. But also, what most people around the world are doing is they're having like a little helper pit crew that's changing the bars as they go. So if you can't fit it all on one bar, just cruise around the room, make sure you get the change that can make those bars eventually, and just pick someone that's going to be in the next lot of 3 that's ages ago, and just say, hey, can you just keep an eye out? My judge will let you know once I finish my first set of thrusters, can you put the second thrusters on, and then to do the third set of thrusters, you'll need, once you get through the bar muscle ups, or the different movement depending on the category, you'll need that, okay? So once again, check to your captain or come and see me if you're unsure about that, but there's so many categories, so many different options. You've got to look at your scorecard and figure that out, okay? So any questions on that bit? Cool. And your collars don't count for weight, so don't try and use that. So in terms of movement standards, we'll go through the thruster first. So first thing you have to do is get below parallel. So hip crease below the top of the knee. So if there was a marble here, it will roll back, okay? So hip crease below the top of the knee. Then as we stand tall, arms must be completely locked out over the top of the foot. We're forming a straight line. It's not out here. The elbows aren't a little bit soft. Everything's locked out. It's not about where your head is. Sometimes people push their head through to sort of exaggerate that or whatever, or get a better, lockout position. Doesn't really matter. You just must be locked out over the midline, okay? One thing that can't happen, and that may happen once we get to the heavier bars, is people start to, and this can happen unknowingly, like jerk it. So they'll go down, they'll come up, and then they'll sort of re-bend and dip again as we stand. That's a no rep, okay? So you've really got to be careful of that. Judges, if there's, once the legs lock out from the squat, if the knees bend again, it's an automatic no rep, okay? So once the legs lock, they must stay locked as it goes over the top. I'm pretty sure that's all the thruster things we really need to cover. Any questions on the thruster crew for when you're judging it? Everyone pretty happy with that? Cool. Obviously, yeah, that first rep, make sure we still get that squat in. Double under, there's not too many of them, thankfully or unthankfully, depending on your love of double unders. But you jump in the air, the rope goes under twice, then you land, that counts as a rep. So, lots of people have different counting methods. I just like to watch their feet, and like you can tap your pen or something on your scorecard every time their feet land. Count out loud or count every 5th rep or something. But obviously, like if you're counting like 21, 22, 23, because you generally will count as they land. If you say 23 and the rope hits them, then you've got to go back one. Oh, 22, because you're sort of anticipating they're going to get that rep, but they don't, okay? So if they miss, you've got to go back one. Once they start again, 23, 24, 25, so on and so forth. Not really too much else to the double under. Yeah, and if you've got like, if you know like squat depth is an issue, or you're like, yeah, I've got some like single double under technique thing going on, like warn your judge, or maybe even get them to look at a few reps before you start, just so it's not like, what is this, like what's happening, or you start getting no rep, like what's going on, like just cover that first, so there's no like disgruntled people early into the WOD. Cool. So then we're going into the pull-up. So there's a few different categories, like masters ones, or scaled options, where they've got this jumping one. So if you've got that option, you need to, once again, this is your responsibility. You know, there's a measuring tape, but get your judge or someone else can help you. You need to find a combination of plates or boxes or whatever that sets the tape 6 inches from the bottom of the pull-up bar to above your head. 6 inches, or it can be further if you want to. So once you've got that set up, you still, like we always do jumping pull-ups, your arms still lock out at the bottom, we dip down, and then we jump and pull, so your chin is over the bar. So chin over the bar, what that means is your chin doesn't have to like physically get over the bar. It just needs to get higher than the plane of the bar. Okay, so just, you can be way back here if you want to, as long as your chin is higher than the top of the bar, okay? So just needs to get up there somewhere. So just make sure you're in a position where you can see that. So if you're in that jumping option, set that up if you're doing that modified one. But, you know, definitely, we'll talk about it a little bit later, but yeah, could be a good night to get your first pull up or your first chest to bar. First bar muscle up, happens every year. Cool, so then we go into the actual pull up. So the standard we're looking for pull up is obviously you don't have the jumping, you jump on the bar. The movement begins when your arms are locked out, the movement ends when your chin gets over the bar. So yeah, go back into the lockout, chin over the bar, any which way you can do it, okay? Any questions on pull up standard? Arms locked out, so yeah, can't be sort of bent. And if you are like doing singles or whatever, you do need to make sure you jump on and you start. You can't like jump into that position and go from there. You must jump, demonstrate that your arms are straight, and then do whatever you're gonna do to get your chin over the bar. Cool. Then chest to bar, same arm lockout standard, collarbone or below, doesn't matter where, must make contact. So chest to the bar, chest must touch the bar. So if it's not touching, then no rep. And you know, there's a lot of methods, like you know, even like one at a time. Like we have kind of a fair bit of success with like people will set, like obviously this is quite high or whatever, but setting up like J hooks or even a box. A lot of females like that first chest to bar, they get with a sort of supine grip, jump through, big swing, and just get one at a time like that. Have a bit of a play around, get the bench out here, have a play inside, just figure out a way. Like one at a time is all good. Like you'll get through it like that. Just got to sort of figure out a way to do it. Muscle up. Don't really know why they even make this rule, but yeah, you have to pass through some sort of dip. You can't go immediately straight arm. Nah, just joking. No, yeah, feet can't get above the bar either.
Feet can't get above the bar.
Yeah.
Feet.
Yep.
If you glide kick it, glide kick it.
Just go to a handstand. Parkour.
Sweet. Okay, so that's all the movements. There any other questions on movements or whatever? Yeah, ask now. You know, other people might not know. Even if there's something specific to you, don't put the pressure on your judge. Cool. All right. So in terms of strategy for tonight, This is probably the workout out of the 3 weeks that has been the most different for everyone. You know, some people that's going to be like, pull up is going to be really tough, and the thruster weight right from the start is going to be really tough. So you're just going to have to break them down, break them into small sets. But it doesn't matter if that's you or if that's someone that can do free and unbroken. The whole workout you need to be choosing to break, not being forced. If you're like, oh, so fatigued that you sort of miss a rep or whatever, then you've gone too much, because when you're doing those sort of maximal effort ones, generally you stop breathing, so you're going to spike your heart rate. You definitely need to have a plan for when you're breaking. There's no, it's sort of the thing about CrossFit, random like workouts will come up and stuff, but we've still done all this stuff before. Like, you should have a rough idea. I can do this, and if you're not sure, then do less, okay? Because you need to, not only will you like use a lot of energy and, you know, like contract hard and, you know, spike your heart rate with those sort of maximal efforts, but there's a good chance you'll miss a rep, and it's devastating to sort of like not get that lockout or not get your depth or whatever. So critical to sort of choose to break rather than be forced to. Yeah, small sets and singles, like the thruster, you know, you've got to sort of pick the bar up, and once you're going, you've sort of got a bit of momentum. So that's probably one you want to try to get a few. But especially the pull-ups, like if you know, if pull-ups aren't your strongest point, like, but you can sort of get regular singles. Yeah, there's so many times we've done these open workouts and everyone has gone singles the whole way and gone way faster. So yeah, it's a good way. You can just like get your chin over and drop off the bar or whatever. So yeah, if you're worried about missing reps or whatever, singles, and just sort of keep them chipping away. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that there's going to be a certain part of this workout that they're worried is going to stop them. That which could be the chest to bar pull-ups, could be the second bar or the muscle ups, whatever. There's two like trains of thought you could do for this. You're like, I'm not going to go too hard because I want to make sure when I get to the bar muscle ups, I've got enough energy to actually get one. I think it depends. Like, well, if you're only going to do it tonight, I would still pretty much just do the best you can the whole way, because it's going to be harder to get to that point than what you think. Like any of those little checkpoints there, it's pretty tough to get to. But say if you're like, oh, I want to make sure I'm fresh enough for the bar muscle ups tonight, I would probably hit it pretty hard and just get there fast, and then have as many attempts as you can, get your best tie break time, get as many reps as you can. And then if you do it again on Monday, you're like, okay, now I'm going to gain this a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit slower on the build up to maybe make sure I've got a bit more energy, or maybe because I think people go too slow and then, oh God, I only had 20 seconds on the bar muscle ups, I only got one. I should have gone quicker and give myself a bit more time. So it's a very difficult one to know. I think you've got to just go like you would in a normal workout and, you know, give yourself a bit more time there. And sort of going back onto that quality one, like just don't lose your head, stop and rest. Like, yeah, not getting a rep because of depth or locking out or chin over or whatever when you can actually do it. That's just, it wastes time and wastes energy. So let's really try and ensure that we don't, miss reps if possible, okay? So we've got our sort of heats as per normal. Let's try to judge the person in that same lane once again. You can shuffle around or whatever. As you set up, part of your job is to make sure you're going to be able to at least have the bars ready, or someone can be there to add the weights on. Scorecard stuff as per usual. So, you know, if you're the next heat, like say the first, like if it's the heat before you, like and you're in the second wave, feel free to go inside. The bit where there's no tape, there's a couple of pull-up bars. You can get a few barbells out and plates. That can be the practice thruster and pull-up section inside before you go. So don't use those lanes. There's 8 other spots. There's all the different heights. We've got 17 bars to choose from, so you'll be fine. But that little corner can be for the heat that's about to go. They're going to be warming up. So warm up tonight. Hopefully, first heat people are sort of midway through it. But 4 minute echo, just nice and easy, same as we had. Just get a 20-second hang on the bar, stretch. 3 minute row, 20-second supine hang, 2 minute ski, 10 beat swings. Then we're going to have 10 wall angels, which are sort of like keeping our ribs down, just trying to open up, you know, keeping on that wall, keeping our elbows and wrists on the wall. 10 wall squats, keeping our arms straight, squatting all the way down. 10 banded pull-ups, just get a nice light band, thumbs pointing out there, 20 calf pumps, and then 5 thrusters with an empty bar. So just moving nice and easily. We're just looking to get our range of motion going, get through that twice, you're getting all the range moving, and then get into a bit of a specific one where we do 8 pull-ups, or maybe lower that number if that's a challenging amount for you, 30 double unders, 6 thrusters at your first weight. Then 6 chest to bars, 20 double unders, 4 thrusters at your second weight, and if you're thinking you're a good chance to get to the third bar, then do 4 muscle ups, 10 double unders, and then 2 thrusters at that final weight, okay? So yeah, thrusters are one of those movements you really want to make sure they're primed and warmed, ready to go. The goal with these warm-ups should be to have the whole thing done at least 5 minutes before you start, so that last 5 minutes you can just sort of chill. So yeah, still the whole thing should be relatively easy apart from that last bit. Try and do it in relatively quick succession, okay? But yeah, any other questions, team? Sweet, so maybe if you're in that first heat, you've got a bit more warming up to do, cool. But let's just go out there, just check your bar and find your judge, and just try and get that bar sorted, just try and prioritize that first, okay? So